Hey folks, how are we all doing out there today? I am going along pretty good on the new Sliprock Peaks map. I figured I'd come out for a little run. Look at that. Funny story, I was building the town area, putting in all the parking spots, all the nice little bushes. Okay, now we're going to be stuck on a sign. Anyways, doing all the little work, and at some point, which the editor does pretty easily if you're not careful, it'll select a whole bunch of things on the map. And I was working on something up in the mountain areas, and I came back over to the town area, and a whole bunch of the buildings and parking spots, as you could see, those concrete things floating in the air, copied each other, and I had like 3 or 4 copies all scattered across the town area. Apparently I missed deleting those couple, so yeah, I probably still have a thing here or there that I haven't found, because all these buildings, the grocery store in the background, bunch of the sidewalk, all that was just copied and pasted beside each other a bunch of times, and it doesn't happen to me often anymore because I know how to avoid it, but this time it happened, and oh boy, just a pain in the butt to fix. And then I get little floating things like that I'm gonna have to remember to take out on the next one. Anyways, we are just going to be going for a quick run through here. We're going to be doing the Where You Been task, which is delivering some garbage containers to a few of the areas around the map. It's a 4-stage task. I'm going to end up just doing 2 of them on this video, which will kind of take us. One's going to be in the lower area with no snow, and then the other one we're going to deliver up into the snow area. So you can definitely see in the background, not done yet, but I am working on, like I said, adding in all the little bushes, all the little, things that are laying around the yard, the lighting, parking spots. You know what, I've even threw in a few NPC. They're just static models like everything else, but there are some people to be found. I think there's at least 3, if not 4 at this point. A couple of them are sneaky to find. You may notice, but I used some of the smoke from season 9, and actually up in the mountains I've added some smoke coming out of some of the chimneys just to kind of give it that bit of extra little bit of effect. It is in the new update, but I used the light smoke and you can't really see it unless you're looking, so may change that over. I just gotta play around and see what the other one looks like. But definitely trying to go the extra mile on this map. Just try to give you that real feel of the world being a little bit more lived in. I know it's always a gripe for everyone that there's nothing else going on. So many people suggest having traffic. Personally, I don't think it would be terribly possible in this game, just with the varying terrain. Like when you look at a farm sim game and they have the traffic, they're all set routes, you lay them out, it's flat terrain for the most part. In this game you have so many different kinds and mud, and I can only imagine the pathfinding for that stuff would be pretty challenging. So I don't think this game would ever be possible of it, obviously. I don't think they're ever going to get to that, but I'm really trying to do what I can to add in a little bit more life around the world, albeit it's not super exciting, but it's definitely something, right? Now I picked this truck. It's the Voron Next, I believe, RSK. It's just been a favorite of mine for a long time. By no means a new mod, but it's just one that is kind of a go-to in my library for some of the library for some of the smaller tasks. Don't really do a lot of big hauls trailers with it, but I love it for these little 2-slot adventures. You may have noticed back when we picked up this trash container that There, right now it's spawning one at a time. I want to look into readjusting that task so that all 4 of them spawn at the same time if I can do it. And that way you could take more than one if you want to go for more of a loop. You use a certain, it's the living asset setting, because I want, when you set these down, I want them to stay there. They'll be part of the world that you delivered the task. And I don't know if I can make them all spawn at the same time, but I will try if I can, because I know it's one of those ones you could probably almost take all 4 of them if you had the right trailer. These roads are not going to be anything close to what the Aussie roads were in terms of like just you need serious trucks to get through most of that map, especially with cargo. This is going to be more of a mix. You can see the road we're ripping down now it's not flat. I'm not super concentrating, but you can definitely see it's a spot here and there that could flip you over if you're not really paying attention or fall asleep. That's another just great way to end up in a horrific crash. I think many of us have probably experienced that. And there really isn't a ton of mud on this map, but where there's mud, it's pretty relatively thick stuff. It's mostly down along the river. You can see that wasn't too bad. I don't think I've been through here in anything other than a scout. Certainly haven't used a rig like this. This thing's pretty balanced. You'll know most of the RSK mods are pretty well balanced setup, and this one is no different than any of the other great mods that put out. But like the bottom line is, I want this adventure to be doable with a stock truck. You have the challenge of the snow. I said in the other video, I'll mention it again, without adding mud to the ground, which literally makes it muddy when you drive on it under the snow. You can only go about half a wheel deep is the way the snow layer works. So I'm opting to go that way with no mud, because I want it to just be snowy up there. And as you can see right here, there's gonna be muddy spots. It's either mud or you're going up a hill basically in this map. I'm probably gonna add a few more tasks to the next update. I kind of gotta figure out how much I want to put out there. I'm really trying to string a bit of a story together on this one rather than just go do all these tasks. Anyone that's played the newest update with the tasks, there's going to be a pretty difficult recovery, and it's going to be one of the first things you see after you kind of get to your home base that I've set up. And it's kind of revolving around you coming here to do that recovery. You're going to get a truck. If you played it, you'll see what truck you get. It's not an incapable truck, but it's probably not going to do that job. There's going to be a bunch of other little jobs running around like this one, which is going to be one of the A to B kind of tasks that you can kind of pick up to make some money with. You're going to start off with $50,000. I think I'm just going to keep that for the end. I'll probably start us off around a level 10, I'm thinking, because that gives you access to a few things, but you still got to work through to get your way up. And definitely going to do some watch points on this one just to add to the exploration a bit, and the watch points help you find tasks without the radar too. So anyways, I'll do a few of those, but I'm definitely not going to overdo it. And I've added a whole bunch of model builds, like the animated model builds, so there's going to be quite a few tasks where you're going to see stuff change, which I know is always kind of more rewarding than the just here's your money, thanks for the help. And just to mix it up a bit, there's 3 separate towns of different sizes around the map, which are kind of going to be pull points to different tasks, and I'm going to have different cargo in different areas, so it's not all back to town, grab it, go out like the trailing maps kind of were. Just mostly by lack of having stuff out. Trailing maps are kind of out in the middle of nowhere and real tough terrain. In the background is going to be a repair. There's going to be repair and fuel at every town, all 3 of them. That one looks like I forgot to code it in there, so I'll have to fix that up. This is going to be a port area, and you can see just out of the corner in the background there that there is going to be a port that, I just said that, a dock that you're going to build, which is going to open up another cargo loading area and some tasks. So I'm really trying to string some things together, and as you can see, this one is a manual unload as well as load, so we'll get a little bit extra crane work in on a few of the tasks. And like I said, I'm just trying to put a little more time into the tasks, where the last few maps they've just mostly been trailing focus maps, and you just got to have something to do while you drive around those areas, and it really limits what I can't get you hauling a windmill blade across Outback overlanding, although I'm sure some of you would enjoy trying. So this one's going to be way more task focused. It's going to have a lot more reasonable roads, and we can see this stage is completed. So what I'm going to do now is I'll just jump back to the other load up, and we can head out and go to the one up on top of the mountain. Alright, so we got our second trash container on the truck. Like I said, this is something, hopefully I can make it spawn all of them at once, or at least 2. I don't know, I haven't really played around with it yet. So that you could take this one with you and kind of carry on the adventure if you like, rather than having to, I mean, I recovered back to the garage, depends how hard you want to go in terms of if you want to drive all the way back. But bottom line is, I'd love to give you guys the option to take more at one time. Just got to see if I can figure it out. So this time we're heading the other way. We're going to go up the mountain. We're going to go across the Death Road, the larger one on the left side that takes you up to the logging mill. And I put a little path about halfway across so you can go up to the top of the mountain. It's a fairly steep little climb that's going to go from mud to snow, so it's not going to be something that you can easily duck out of that trail. I don't know if you'd want to, I mean, some of us will try and take logs up or down it, but it's an out because it's a really long road along the cliff, and I figured it would be nice to at least have an option to duck out if you wanted to, and it gives you kind of a tough little shortcut over to the town up that way, which is why we're going to be taking it. So we're just kind of cruising by. I've added in an old mill, and that's actually going to be your home base when you kind of get into the map. So you're going to have a little cruise over here anyways. I've added in up here, you would have seen in one of the earlier videos, this little side part doesn't exist, but there's going to be a road that goes down the other side. Both sides of the rivers have roads. One side's swampy and muddy, the other side is up out of the river more, and it's kind of an up and down mud holes, but not mud everywhere, a rocky kind of trail. So you're gonna have 2 different ways to get down the river, and you kind of get 2 different disciplines of driving, so hopefully that kind of mixes it up a little bit. The town that we are at actually is at the far end of that river, so that's another way you can get down there as opposed to the quicker way up across the top. There's a few different tasks again that are going to be at that town, and there's going to be reasons to get cargo. So, and actually the hill climb is over at that town as well. So there are a bunch of reasons to go. If you've seen the other videos, you've seen this part of the track. I haven't really done much to it. I may cut some more ruts in the cliff side just to lean you over that way once in a while a bit more, you know, make a mistake actually count on some of these hauls. It's a fairly wide road, and I mean, I keep to the inside here. I guess it's probably just a natural thing. I also don't want to roll down the cliff, and more showing you guys what's going on with the world so far. So but yeah, it does get tougher as you get further along, so I probably won't make any major adjustments to this, but I don't know, more rocks on it maybe. They're kind of a pain in the butt, but it makes the drive more challenging. We'll see there are spots that have more rocks than others in areas, but and then eventually, if you've seen the other videos, we're going to switch over to muddy snow anyways, so that gives you the whole different look at it. I've spent quite a bit more time on the rapids area down there. I've only still got the one, but I've pretty much got the rocks and debris and stuff and the depth all set up. This river is going to have a lot of deeper spots. It's not going to be one you can just drive across like some of my other maps. So the river will be a blocker in areas, although there's always a truck that can get through it. But there's a few different places to cross. The rapids is going to be a spot where you can get across. There's a bridge at both ends, and I'm going to probably add in 2 or 3 more smaller rapids into the length of the river, so there'll be a few areas you can get across. I will have deep spots in it. There's not going to be an easy spot, and the current will be pretty good in those areas, so yeah, something to play around with. Do a little river rock crawling too. This is a little scoot up trail that I just kind of added in. That's kind of, call it a shortcut, and also a way to bail out of this trail other than rolling down the hill. And it's going to have its challenges. I haven't actually driven up this one once, and it was before I adjusted it. This is in the most current update, so you guys have a chance to run around. I don't know, you guys probably didn't notice, but I've actually changed the trees up a bit from what you're playing on right now, and I've added in that green maple tree. I thought it was, I don't know, mix up the forest a little bit up here, so let me know what you think about that, if it looks like it fits in there pretty good. I'm liking the snow depth on this trail. I don't want it to be a trail you can't get up, but I do want it to be a challenge, and there's a steep enough hill here that should be pretty good. I think I put a couple ledges in it as well, like not really big ledges, but enough to, yeah, like this one here. Yeah, it's a bit of a slug to get up. Again, keep in mind, I want to make this more task oriented fun map. I hate the collision. Some bridges have collision, some don't. There is another model of that bridge that I'll switch it out with and see if it maybe doesn't have camera collision. It's always fun to go under the bridges unless they hit the camera. The other thing is it could be the logs that I put in there as support, so that's another thing I can look at, see if I can fix it up. And this main road, you can get up here a little bit easier, but it's the bridge build, and that's part of the big recovery that you've been brought here for. So there is a quicker, easier way for bigger cargo, because there is going to be a few bigger hauls on this this map, and you're going to most likely want to use that one with the big asphalt bridges. But I haven't built that bridge, and I wanted to test out this trail, so there's options. There's going to be a lot of different ways to get around this map, but there's not going to be as many trails as some of my other maps, purely because there's just so many hills that I'm almost at the point where the main road system's completed, and now I'm just going to be kind of sneaking little rock climbing trails and more of the fun little stuff around that kind of connects some of the bigger trails together. But the layout, what you guys are playing right now that's released, is more or less what it's going to be. It's just going to be filling in. I've added a bunch of houses up on the top of the or not even houses, but huts and stuff to find up on the top of the mountains, and you're going to do a few deliveries up there. These are, like, some of these houses are the ones that I was talking about, have a bit of smoke coming out of the chimney, which again is going to add, hopefully, to getting immersed in the level a little bit more. I'm quite happy with the amount of mud up here. Again, this is kind of one of those freak snowfalls. We actually just had snow in BC, I guess, the other day, which is crazy. That, you know, it would melt in a couple of days, but it was just one of those heavy snowfalls. The ground was already more or less growing when it happened, and so you don't want this to be a mess, but it is going to be a little soft with all the extra melt. This is going to be a metal pickup area. A little tight on the side of the building, but I'm thinking the logistics side of delivering is kind of fun. So here's another area. There's 2 more after this that we got to do. We're not going to do them today. Let me know what you guys think, and thanks for hanging around and watching. Talk to y'all again soon.